Our smartphones are a fairly impressive piece of kit. They offer so many advantages to our daily life, including convenient communication with others, access to information, to news updates, and to entertainment 24 hours a day, as well as the capacity to capture some of our favourite moments. And yet, more and more research is indicating that our smartphone usage is having major ramifications for our mental and emotional health, as well as damaging our relationships. And it's not like as if smartphones are going away anytime soon. So it's up to us to become more responsible about our usage. And this involves understanding some of the negative impacts that they can have on us. Ironically, the technology that has been designed to keep us connected is negatively impacting on and diminishing the quality of our real life connections. Even the mere presence of a smartphone face down on a table negatively impacts on the overall quality of the conversation between two people. They show less vulnerability, they don't talk about things that are meaningful, and they're not as present. They report feeling somewhat distracted. And this is what phones are designed to do. They work on our dopamine system and they work on our pleasure seeking. So basically what they do is they draw us in with the potential of novelty. And this is why oftentimes we feel drawn to check our apps and not really know the reason why. We assume that there's going to be something great, and yet our apps are never ending. So we keep scrolling, no idea what we're actually looking for. And we might go through 3 or 4 apps in rotation and suddenly find 30 minutes has passed and just feel drained as a consequence, and still feel completely unfulfilled and dissatisfied. So it's just being very aware of how you can be drawn in by social media applications and how they never actually pay out when it comes to the assumption that you have for the reward that you're going to get. We also try to avoid boredom at all costs. I mean, we can't even stand in a queue for 30 seconds without bringing our phones out. However, what I have noticed is that people have the same impulse when they're doing something that mightn't be the most entertaining thing in the world, but it still requires their presence. You see this when you're playing with your kid and it gets a little bit tedious and you're just like, oh, I just want to kind of zone out, and you drag out your phone. Except your kid is still there. They want you to be present. So it's just about being very mindful of your incapacity to experience boredom, because the thing is, boredom is a requirement for creativity and curiosity and connection. And when we lack those things in our life, then our life is lackluster. I mean, it doesn't feel as fulfilling. And somewhere along the line, we have internalized this concept of boredom as being a bad thing. We want to be continuously stimulated and entertained. And unfortunately, it's to our detriment. We are less creative, we are less curious, and we are less connected. Not only that, the meaningful moments in our life become a little less shiny because we are continuously exposed to other people's spectacular moments, and all of a sudden everything seems a little less shiny, and as a consequence we have less appreciation for the small little mundane things that are actually what create meaning and fulfillment for us. And we need to be able to pull away from that mentality of everything having to be glamorous and grandiose, and really allowing ourselves to immerse into the banal and to find appreciation for the small little mundane things in life, as opposed to always anticipating something spectacular and feeling disappointed when it doesn't happen. I suppose we also compare ourselves to the people we follow. We have a tendency to follow pages that actually make us feel inadequate, that make us reflect poorly on ourselves. And it's being really mindful about the amount of content that you consume that makes you feel bad, that makes you feel like as if there is some aspect of yourself that is inadequate, or that makes you look at your life in a negative fashion. Because again, we need to take responsibility for our phone usage. You can't just blame the apps or the phones. We are the ones that are holding them. We are the ones that are making the decisions. And we have a tendency to make poor decisions. We are very poor predictors of what makes us happy. We tend to look for instant gratification, and we tend to assume that just because somebody else has it, that it's automatically going to extrapolate to us. And oftentimes this is the furthest thing from the truth. So it's being very conscious about what you use your phone for, how frequently you use your phone, but also your expectations for yourself, on reflection on the content that you follow, and to make sure that you are working as much on your real life relationships as you are on the ones on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Because again, we can pour our whole entire life into our phone, or we can pour our whole entire life into our actual life. If you would like to work with me on building greater levels of self-acceptance and awareness, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie.